are flexible enough, reach underneath your thigh and grab the shin.
I'm wearing my top guard.
So she did the best she could. You could use a belt to do it, but the idea is get the heels in as close as you possibly can. Struggle if you have to. Don't accept them. Oh, yeah, I can't go. No, struggle and pull them in. Yeah. That's that itself is toughness. Now, you're going to be here for a few minutes, so I want you to use your blocks. Lift me up a little bit. Notice how I'm angling the block in, so the edge of the block is getting you right where the side of your outer gluteal muscle, right, hits the ischial tuberosity, the buttock bone. Right? So that should take some pressure off the groin, right? Really important, because pain is a magnet. Your attention will keep going there. You can't pay attention to this. So we're going to then simply go over what we did last week. Hands first by lower ribs. And I said a lot of you had your hands much higher, remember? Touch the bottom of the sternum. Right? Then there's soft tissue here, right? Go lateral, and if you trace it down, the rib, yeah, lower. See now, put your hands there. Just a little lower. It's kinesthetic. Then, lower.
Lower.
Then 2 was outlined with the shoulder, was in line with the shoulders. It's number 2. Take it up in line with the shoulders. Right. And then go all the way over your head. That's 3. Now, if your hands don't touch the floor, if the arm is off the floor, go wider with your arms, but try to get all 10 nails touching the floor. So you can see, quickly do the 3 arm positions again. So notice the change in the shape of the chest box. So you've got to see once again what is inflating, expanding, and elongating, but now how it's also changed by having the legs in a different position. Next week we'll do a different leg position, and we'll do this again until you start getting the idea about how did the position of the arms and the shape of the legs change how the prana is. Got it? Give her a hand for that demo and go do it like Make sure you realize where you are relative to the rest of the students in the room, and arms by your side, shoulder height, and over your head.
Thank you.
When you lie down in Supta Baddha Konasana, draw those heels in, make an effort. That's your version of tapas, putting some energy. Were you in this position last week? Move somewhere else. Do you have a chance to see how this works? You funny. I saw that. Hope that's for later.
Yes, it is. It's much later.
All right, so get the blocks angled in, kind of diagonally in. No, that's not angled. That way there. That's it. Right. Now, some of you may like it a little further away to help open up the groin. The important thing is that it gives you freedom from having to worry about whether or not the inner thigh overstretches. Now, you're not centered on your mat. All right, so we're all in the same place. Get the fingers to touch the bottom of your sternum. So I know you know where the end of the breastplate is and the soft tissue at the top of the diaphragm begins. Now, feel with your fingers, go lateral to the side. You see it starts getting lower, inferior toward your feet. That's where it is. Now, using your own awareness from there, bring your arms out in line with that and allow the breath to do what hopefully you learned last week, which is what we call the inflating action. That when the arms are positioned in such a manner that they're in line with the lowest of the ribs, then you know that the breath is going to inflate forward and back when you inhale and exhale. Now, what about you practicing? She has the practice. All right, eyes open, please. So soft, easy breathing based on the idea of let the pose determine the breath. You heard me say that last week. I'll say it every single week. Get more and more into your observational mode rather than your doing mode. In fact, even though I'll be giving you technique, which means things that you have to practice and do, the idea is much more on the awareness of what's happening and not so much on the fine points of the technique. It's not that we're going to not be meticulous in the technique, but it serves what? A subtler understanding, a more refined understanding, a deeper understanding, you could say. So let the pose determine the breath. Just notice the shape you're in and how the breath is a little bit more afforded the inflating and deflating action, forward and back without you trying. That's the idea. Now it's easy to experience in almost every yoga pose the increased circulation or blood flow, which means increased oxygenation. Right? The oxygen is carried around by the blood, and any time we're using our idea of yoga as a therapeutic application, it does not really matter what the condition is. It needs to have blood flow increased into that area, which means more oxygen gets into that area. So one of the things yogis do is they put themselves in positions where it favors increasing the blood flow, which means the oxygen, just by the position itself. And as you change your pose with respect to gravity, you start realizing, wow, how wonderful this is. So right now, while you're letting the breath happen, realize in the back of your mind how this is good for your intestinal circulation, the blood flow in all the soft tissue, for your hepatic circulation, for what's going on in your liver, for your renal circulation, what's going on in your kidney, for your pulmonary circulation, for what's going on in your lungs, for your cardiac circulation, for what's going on in your heart. Understand? And these are all measurable things. Science already has proved. And when you do yoga, the profusion of blood that goes to certain areas, the amount of liters of blood that get filtered and so on, it increases. This is science. It's no longer like something like, oh, how do you know that? They've finally done the tests enough. Because we didn't believe the Indian doctors. It had to be done by Western students first before we accept our science. Right, the prejudice we have against dark-skinned people, it's ridiculous. All right, got it? So this is the first one. Now, take your arms out level with the shoulders. Now, be aware, you just moved. The chest box can't be the same shape. Can't be the same shape. We also mentioned last week that the shoulder sockets move back toward the floor, and the inner shoulder blade lifts up. So there's that sense of the puff in the chest. Now, you can add a little bit more technique to this, which means a little more control, in that don't let your chest collapse on the exhale. And realize how you're going to do this when we're doing the supine breathing and the digital breathing. There's an expansion, right, from the center to the sides with the arms in this position. But on the exhale, don't let it collapse from the periphery back to the core, even though that's what's happening internally. Externally, it looks like it's just as broad as it was at the end of the last inhale. And then let the pose determine the breath. I know I'm on camera, and I'm reading notes on camera. It's okay, I don't have to keep everything in my head. Could I? Sure. Am I? No. You don't like it? Shut the camera off. All right. So each week I'll keep reminding you of basic things that come up again and again in yoga for you to observe, any one of which can give you a really good insight, so it doesn't matter which one you connect to. Right? We're always aware of how the elements are being experienced as we're doing any position the 5 panchabhutas, right? How do you experience the elements as they affect your asana practice? You experience the earth element as whatever is hard or soft. You experience the water element as whatever is wet and dry. You experience the air element as whatever is moving or still. You experience the fire element as whatever is hot and cold, or it's really heat and the absence of heat. And you experience the etheric element as whatever has space in it or whatever is closed down. Open or closed. So you can notice as your senses give you impact what's going on, right? The back of your skull has more earth element than your tongue, for instance. The breath obviously is the air element moving. Or if you're sweating somewhere, there's the fire, the water element. Some of you might feel cold in your extremities, or some of you might feel hot, there's the fire element. And then other areas of your body are open, other areas don't feel so open. So there's more etheric element in one part than in another, and so forth. Then we also start talking about the vayus. How do you feel the movements of the air? 5 different kinds of air movements. Actually, there are more than 5, but 5 that are the panchavayus are the ones that they talk about the most. But we'll talk about that after you inhale, exhale, and stretch your arms over your head into the elongation motif. Span the fingers, and if you can't touch all 10 nails to the floor, widen your arms. How's it feel in this one? And if you can't get the back of your arm to the floor, widen your arms even more. So widen if you can't, first of all, if your elbows are bent, widen. If you can't get all 10 nails to the floor, widen. If the back of your arm doesn't touch completely, then widen as well. So now, when the arms go over your head, immediately the chest box has gotten into the elongation position. So now experience it here, but remember, the leg position is different, so the pelvic base also is going to give you a different feeling. And how will you know this? By practice, by doing it again and again. One time is not enough, because you're not sure even what to look for the first time you do it. So you have to have an experience, then have to go back and do it again. Now I have some idea, let me watch this time even better. Or I heard what the teacher said, but it didn't make sense. Oh, now it makes sense. That's what the tax is on the system. You got to do it again and again until you find out through your own experience. Finger webbing spread wide means what? To the maximum expansion. Read it, come on. Way up. Thumb, get your thumb to the floor too. So the vayus are the movements of the air in the body. And I'm not telling you you should try to do this, just this is what happens, right? Apana vayu, we did up on mudra tonight, that's basically the eliminative movement. So anything that happens in urination and defecation, those forces that are moving things out of the body, down and out, that's up on vayu. Then samana vayu is in the stomach. Just think of all the anabolism, catabolism stuff that goes on in the digestive system, that kind of movement. So anything that's going on in the digestive system, that's samana vayu, movement there. Then when you're breathing and the movement of your heart and lungs, of course, right, that's prana vayu in the center of the chest, but that's small prana, not the capital prana, the one that kicked the ass on all the senses. Right? Then you have the vocal diaphragm, udana vayu, because when you speak and air comes through and hits the vocal cord, so there's another movement there. And then the last one is called vayana vayu, which is supposed to be the electromagnetic vibration around you, sometimes called your aura or the circumvent force, as opposed to the interstitial movements, all the stuff that goes on under the surface at a microscopic level. That's all controlled by vayana vayu, because there's movement there as well. So you could use your practice at any time to understand how do different positions favor movement in the apana, samana, prana, udana, or vayana vayu. That would be another understanding of incorporation of another one of yoga's esoteric things. Kind of makes sense once you start buying into it, yeah? All right, so you got that? Very nice. Inhale and exhale, break your reverie, and bring your arms back, and out you go. So that's your expansion, contraction, whatever. Knees to chest, inhale and exhale. Get your arms out of the way, inhale, exhale, roll to the side. Get the breath when you're there. Always take a transition breath, even though I know that most of you would not experience any kind of negative experience, but just coming, popping right up like a toast out of a toaster. Take an extra breath, make the transition, because the fluids in your body do change, and it has nothing to do with age per se, right? So for the more mature practitioners, it's not like some caution I'm telling you. The what's called syncope, which is like, you Anybody experienced this? You go down the bottom stacks in the library, you pick up a book, you come up again. It has nothing to do with how old you are. It has to do with the hydraulics in your body, get it? So just in general, we'll take that extra breath. Now, I thought that tonight we will do something a little bit more fun that we haven't done before. A little partner work. A little partner work. So what's going to happen here is we're going to have 2 belts that are tied together. May I have 2 belts? And while I'm doing this, anybody else in the background could be doing this. So, you got it? And you have another belt that's like that? Come on. So what you're going to do is you're going to, they have to be 2 belts that are of the same type.
2 belts per couple.
2 belts for each group of 2. And you're going to tie the tail of one into the buckle of the other. So it's not twisted. Okay. Right.
Oh, never got to teach her.
All right. So we have 2 belts, so it's one big loop. One big loop. So let's watch Marcy and Mark. So you're going to use each other to traction your body. What we want you to do is Prasarita Padottanasana legs, but dog pose arms. So you're going to face each other, put the belts, put the loop over your back, and you get the buckle in the center, like this. So today we're going to do a real easy version. You just tighten it up a little bit. Other times we have more complicated ways of doing it. We're just starting. Now, you got to find out where you're good. All right, so then turn around, face away from each other. You probably don't need that much.
Long.
Yeah, we can
Shorter.
shorten this here. You'll see in a second, all right? All right, so that stays in the center. Now, you find your pelvic rim, the front bones here, and if you lift up your leg, you'll find that there's a crease at the top of your thigh. That's where your hip does the flexion from, right? That's the place where the belt has to go, below that pelvic rim at the root of your thigh. That's the proper place where bending ought to happen from, yeah? So, being there for your partner, right? Bend your knees and take your hands to the floor. And then widen your feet. Prasarita Padottanasana means, 3.5 to 4 feet if you're a medium-sized person, 4.5 to 5 if you're tall, right? And then,
too much? No, it's good.
right now, each one of you be there for the other person, right? Right? So let them pull you, and then you pull them back again. And then if the other person is pulling you more, say, "Hey, beast!" Back off, beast mode.
Hey, beast.
Right. So now you see you're getting the traction of your spine. Back off on your intensity mark for a little. Let her pull you more. No, keep stretching your arms, but let her pull your hips more. There you go. See, because I want the side of your hip being aligned with the same thing. See how Marcy's hips are a little too far forward? So let your energy back off, Marcy. You let him pull you more. See right there. See, there's the Tadasana alignment. So the hip and the knee and the ankle are in line. Okay? And then let your head go and stretch out yourself and elongate. So this is a flexion pose, whereas the last one was our extension
We
pose.
should both be pushing in so we get resistance.
You're pressing it to the outer feet, pulling forward, but you pull forward like playing with your dog, right? You have a disadvantage that the rag, is the go-between,
good.
right? So you have to, how tight is the person? How strong is the person? You have to back off, be there for them, but then give it to them. So you really feel like, okay, I'm supporting them, but I'm getting something out of this also. How does that feel? Good?
So good.
Yeah? All right. And then
Good
bend
for
your
you.
knees, you walk in and back to yourself. So bend your knees and walk back into yourself. And then just be careful in the dismount, and you thank each other afterwards, right? Give them a hand for that demo. So find a partner. You probably don't need a match for this. So find a partner and do that. And while you're here, let's do it. twist, not twist. Okay.
That's about, right, then we just kind of hop in here, right? And
Yeah, start to go.
Bring this together, this together.
Am I ready?
ready?
Yeah, we're doing this together. Just like anything that's not really
Here we go.
against yourself.
Here we go.
Maybe it's on the man.
All the way over.
How you doing? Good, right?
Yes.
Good.
Make sure this is like this.
That's good. How are you?
Not bending the knees.
I'm gonna come in a little closer.
Just enough, just enough talk
Okay.
that you can get set up.
You good?
You can pull a little
Go a
more.
little more?
You want me to pull?
Oh, no, I'm good. Are you good? How are you? Are you good?
Yes. It's just that my feet are swinging. I feel like I'm
Uh-oh.
back.
Need to readjust? You need to adjust your feet?
I will let you know.
Okay.
I might end up on a platform.
I need to move forward.
Look between your legs and get in the same plane as your partner.
I am going to drive my
Get in the same plane as your partner. Your legs may not be exactly as wide as them.
That's okay. Yeah, use that.
Oh, how you know?
Grab mine a little bit
Oh,
too.
yeah, I was gonna say, whoa, what happened there?
Alright, so, once you're there, just enough feedback to find equal pull, equal tautness.
All right.
Now, you alright? Elliot, pull some more. Good, more, more. Now stretch your arms forward. Dog pose in the upper body, Prasarita Padottanasana in the legs. Yeah, that's right. Now walk, my brother over here, walk your feet further forward. Walk your feet further forward.
My feet.
Walk your feet further forward. Yeah, keep going. Shorten your stance, shorten your stance. Good, now. How's that? A little better?
Better.
Yeah, so straighten your knees. And walk your arms forward. Way out, side body really long. Okay, now listen. Arms. Are they by the lower ribs, in line with your shoulder, or over your head? So what does that mean to how your breathing is going to be? Elongating, exactly. So your legs are spread too far. Both you guys, your legs are spread way too far. Bring them shorter. Much more. Outer edges of your feet parallel. Good. Now pull each other. Better. See more stability there. All right. Take 3 long, slow, deep breaths, relaxing your brain. Inhale and exhale. If you're a round shoulder student, walk your feet a little further forward, Elliot. And a little closer together. Good. Now come up on your fingertips and pull the body forward. That's it. Inhale and exhale, second time. Isn't this nice? Good. One more time. Inhale and exhale. All right. Bend your knees. Walk back. Dismount carefully. And thank your partner. But don't keep talking too much. Did you have a chance to do that with anybody? With your husband? All right. Now, twisting. Come on, we're doing well time-wise. We still have a lot to do. Pavrita Dandasana. So sit on the floor and have a belt for yourself. Pavrita Dandasana. So tight up there?
No, it's so high.
Oh.
Open in there.
Effervescence, eh?
Oh my God.
Alrighty, so Dandasana means on the floor, legs out ahead of you. Right? Use your hands, remember to lift the buttock flesh from bottom to top so you come to the front edge of your inner sit bone. Also use both hands on each thigh to lift the skin and wrap it around the bone from the outside in so you really get a good internal rotation on your legs. Pavrita Dandasana. With your right arm, inhale and arc it around yourself behind you in line with your right hip. with your left arm up in the air, palm facing to your right. On an exhale, reach across the body and grab the outer edge of your right foot with your left hand and pull back and lift up. So twist up to the right. Use your right hand to help give you a perching or lifting up action, and your left hand to continue to reach for the outer edge of the foot. Now, if you can't get the foot, that's what the belt is for. Loop the belt around the foot and use that as an extension to pull back against. Twisting is lifting is one of the things we say. So go as close as you can to the leg, then pull back intensely with the arm. Now, your left shoulder blade rolls into your left chest like you're doing Trikonasana to the left, and the right collarbone opens up to the right. If you have nothing wrong, your hand on the floor, if you have nothing wrong with your neck and shoulders, it's perfectly okay to either twist your head in the direction of the twist or turn your head over the front shoulder. If you have something wrong with your neck and shoulders, keep your nose in line with your sternum. Now, front body's lifting up, drop the back body down. From the nape of your neck toward your tailbone, pull the posterior skin off of your neck, down. Good. Every inhale, you lengthen up. Every exhale, you turn without losing the length of your spine. Do that a few times, your own pace. Ascend the skin of the front from pubis to collarbone notch. Descend the skin in the back from base of the neck to the tailbone. So remember, the twisting poses have to do with detoxification, wringing out. That's soft tissue. Remember, the spongy tissue. All right, inhale and exhale and come back to the center and pause and take a breath. Keeping your legs active. Are your legs active? Yeah? Really? Pull the toes back toward your face hard. And stretch the heels so far away from you that your calf muscle really goes, ow. Besides, of course, pressing the whole back of the leg to the floor. Right? Heels far away from you as possible. Toes pull back toward your face. That's called Kupara Bandha, ankle lock. It's a co-activation of two different muscles that normally work as agonist and antagonist, that both activating at the same time. It's really intense. Ankle lock, Kupara Bandha. You asked me about a bandha, here's another bandha. But it's a musculoskeletal bandha, yeah? Or Mula bandha is a soft tissue bandha, right? Uddiyana bandha is a soft tissue bandha.
So it's the heels pulling back and the toes
Extending
pulling
away from you.
back? The heels pressing forward and the toes pulling back.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I've been doing that all the time. I did not know it was a bandha.
But you have to keep the heel, the calf tremendously active at the same time. Because I can stretch toes toward me, but the calf, if I really, really pull it down so I can get it out in the calf. Otherwise it won't be the bandha. All right, so on this one, what are we doing? Taking our left arm, inhale, exhale, bring it around you, circularly in line with the left hip. Right arm, palm facing up to the left, inhale, exhale, reach it across, grab the outer edge, pull it back. Now, for many of you, when you pull back and lift up, and continue to do this I'm talking, it's normal, when you're not paying attention, for the asymmetry of the pose to be reflected in one foot going further forward and one foot being pulled back. So, if you've done it in such a way where which foot tends to go forward, which foot tends to go back?
The left goes forward.
The one we're grabbing pulls back.
Yeah, so if you notice that your right foot was in advance of your left, right, you either have to pull the right foot back into its buttock or extend the left leg forward. Or you could do it from the groin. Instead of thinking it's the buttocks that has to move, the groin has to move. Whatever it is, even though the upper body is in asymmetrical pose, keep your legs doing Dandasana. And once again, turn the head with the twist or opposite the twist, or keep it centered with the sternum depending on what your neck and shoulder configuration is all about. Then, every inhale, you pull strongly on the leg or the belt and lift the spine without losing the spinal lift. Exhale and turn from the right to the left. The right shoulder blade moves into the right lung, and you widen that left collarbone any amount you can. You know, it's really nice. I was almost thinking about it, but I didn't want to take the time to do the chair. But you see how your left arm is? Try it at home with your arm up on a chair so that the arms would be in the same, the arms would be in the same plane in a certain way, even a little higher, sister. Yeah, right there. Then what it is, then your arms are out like you're in the position where your arms like at the shoulder length, and then the breath becomes more the expanding breath. You understand? Down here it's a little different, right? That side shortens a little bit, right? Okay. So inhale and exhale, my friends. Basta, enough. Out you go. Done. Last week we did Viparita Karani, right?
Yes.
This week we'll do something slightly different. We'll modify for you as necessary. So, Diane, I want you to demo this for us. Keep the chair against the wall, move your mat close to the chair, put a blanket right on the chair edge so that if your heels at the Achilles tendon went on the chair edge, the blanket would pad it so the metal against the flesh wouldn't be so harsh for you, yeah? Alright. So, have a block near you so when you lie down with your feet facing the chair, you have all of that available to you.
Okay.
So, depending on where you are in terms of your practice, remember, according to the Yoga Sutras and repeated in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, there are 4 types of students: the Murdu or the dull, the Madhya or the average, the Adimatra or the keen, and the Tivra Samvega, the supremely enthusiastic. So rather than thinking that you have yourself pinned into one of these modes, yeah, I'm a lazy ass, or like, you know, on again, off again, or no, I'm really into it, are you kidding me? Like I'm on fire, you know. Don't pigeonhole yourself that way. The idea is maybe on a given pose, and on a given day, you might be more dull, or more average, or more keen, or more like I'm really into this, right? So this is what I'm suggesting about how high your pelvis is going to go. So Diane, you're going to have to move further back away from the chair. No. Because at the end of this, your block is going to go underneath your pelvis, flat first, right? And you got to move further away from the chair, so when your legs are fully extended, the heels will be on the edge of the chair.
Gotcha.
So this is a simple and not too intense variation of Setu Bandhasana, which I cannot underestimate the importance of this pose in all variations. Same thing you just learned. Push those heels away from you, flex the toes towards you, get that calf really active. Puff the chest as you've already learned, so that we're continuing to build on skills we've already been exposed to, we're developing, we do it again and again. That's what practice is about, to become so second nature. Sukham shtiram, pleasant and stable staying. I don't have to worry about that. I can free my mind now, because the body is not an impediment. It's not calling my attention to the fact that not flexible enough to hold, not strong enough to bear the weight, not enduring enough to sustain. No, that's why we're doing the work. Now, you may have a better back bend than this. And if that's true, Diane, feet to the floor. Inhale, exhale, bridge your hips up, put the block on its side edge, the second height. And then readjust and extend the legs again. You got the idea?
Mm-hmm.
But we're giving her an inclined plane. Right? So we're fulfilling the idea of the inversion as I'm trying to teach it, where head is below the heart, legs are above the heart, gravity is feeding blood into the brain. Because we want clarity as we're about to do these things and not just drifting off into a sleep state. So bringing extra blood to the brain creates alertness to do this work that we're about to do, right? Now, we're minimizing the back bend part of this, because eventually the idea, of course, is to drop over from shoulder stand with your hands in your back and walk your legs out. But that's an intense pose. And unless you can do that, you'll create more nervous tension than you will relaxation. But variations of it are this. Okay. Now, of course, can we take it up one more level? Find out. Bridge up all the way. Notice she had to get her heels off the floor to do that. That's okay. As long as when you come back down on it, it doesn't leverage your shoulders off the floor. So that's more of a back bend, different kind of chest openness, which only if it doesn't annoy your back. Right? I mean, you're enough of an annoyance to yourself as it is, right? You don't have to add additional. Why give yourself more than you're already giving yourself, I say, right? But if that doesn't work, go to the low ones, and then, right? So now she gets a nice gravity feed this way. How's that, dear?
Good.
Got it? So we get a back bend, we get a reversion, but I'll tell you what some of the other benefits are, all right? Give her a hand for that demo. Go find your space and try it. So what I would suggest for you is, you might find that having the legs in that angle and only one blanket underneath your hips will work. If not, do no blankets and just the feet on the chair, but a blanket on the chair. Only by experiment will you find out.
You're welcome.
In all these poses, a person goes with a long inner leg. The outer ankle is always longer than the inner ankle. In a close action, it would be more like this.
Yeah.
So how does it feel having the inner ankle long. All right, so get the chair against the wall so it doesn't move.
Somebody can use this one.
You need a chair? But, no, if you're skilled enough, the chair won't move. I'm just saying that's just the way to protect, to make sure it doesn't move. But your skill level is such you don't need it. Oh, did I just give you a compliment? Hey, erase that.
Beginner's mind.
Right. The only other thing is, see, if you don't have enough lift in your chest, some of the answers, a lot of people, they get like that, and their fingers pushing. So if this is going to, you can't control it, it will prevent that.
Safety first,
All right, so find out with a little trial and error, how far away from the wall do you have to be able to bridge up, get the heels by your Achilles tendon, not more of your calf. So correct it. You just want a little bit there. Inner legs together for sure. And what do you have underneath you? Anything? No, I'm talking about underneath the pelvis. She showed it with a block underneath.
Make sure that my bolster works.
And I noticed that when you put a block underneath yourself, it changes the dome of your chest. And therefore it changes the shape of how your head and neck fit into it. Right? Put your hands at the sides so you get the lower ribs involved. Keep that shoulder socket down, inner shoulder blade up. Now, you're not on your Achilles heels. You're not on your Achilles heels. You have a little bit of shin there. Off that chest. So, first start with no blanket. Really does. Not wrong to want to protect yourself, but hands is the first thing you know, but don't do anything to harm yourself. But there's an exploratory aspect to this. How you discover, and unfortunately, you grow by making mistakes. Hopefully it won't be a mistake that like cripples you or something like that. But it should be a lesson. And the lesson is, why did my fear prevent me from seeing there's more space behind the fear? Because if you set it up incorrectly, right, or you had a previous experience that's already kind of like etched in your mind, this doesn't feel good, it makes you less willing to. But just think it was curiosity or investigation. How do you know? And the master says you yourself don't know what you're capable of. So, how does this feel? Okay, so now, by stages, you just have to find out, put your feet to the floor, and you realize that this is flatter than a block. That means the height is lower. So, bridge your hips up and put this underneath. And drop down, no weight. No weight. Now, remember what you're doing with your chest. Shoulder sockets down, shoulder blade up. Because if your chest drops, you dump into your low back. Everybody for a moment, drop the height of your chest. Did it just dump into your low back? Don't do that. So this is part of your own responsibility. If you wanted to play a part in aiding your own recovery, you have to pay attention to how am I authoring what's going on. If my awareness collapses and I don't realize, like, I'm causing my own back to jam and I could be in control of that, maybe you have to keep alert moment to moment. Welcome to yoga. So now we're okay? So from here, without losing your chest height, one at a time. And pause and wait. Don't lose the chest height. Next one. Pause and wait. Don't lose the chest. Puff it up. So how's that? You just graduated to back bends. Inner heel longer than outer heel. Free the chin so you're not jamming your neck. And now, you could put your arms in any position you wanted. Just remember, if it's at your lower ribs, you're going to inflate. If it's at your shoulders, you're going to expand. If it's over your head, you're going to elongate. How do you find out? Experimental method. It's not right or wrong. It's what are you trying to achieve? What effect are you trying to bring about? Inner legs touching means what? Inner feet touching means what? Good. So notice how your outer ankle is further away from your inner ankle. Can you perceive that? So make your inner ankle a little further away. You're going to squeeze the legs, join the legs on your back, turn them in strong. You can make the inner, right, big toe side away from you, pinky toe side toward you, while it touches you. Join the inner legs right to the foot. Ball mount to the foot, inner ankle, inner heel. All right, got it? So this is the inversion. Now the blood should be clarified. The most important thing about the inversions, especially the Setubandha variations, is the working on your hypothalamus. Sorry, remember I said Buddha was the master of putting the reptilian brain on a leash? What is the hypothalamus? It's that part of your brain stem that's connected to all the instinctive actions. This is the thing that for millennia has been teaching you about when to fight, when to flight, when to be like a possum and not move, when to eat, when to go to the bathroom, when to be aggressive and defend your territory, when you're horny. So those base instincts of aggression, sexuality, hunger, fatigue, and so forth, they're all regulated by your hypothalamus. So Setubandha every day. And we also talk about the vagus nerve, the cranial nerve that controls all those other autonomic functions on the center seam of the body. Have the yogis know this. Observation and practice. All right, so now you've done the work. We've got an hour and 10 minutes to do the breathing. And so through. Inhale and exhale, bend your legs at the knees, put the feet to the floor, stay there and take a breath. Inhale and exhale, bridge your hips up, take the block out, roll down your spine from your neck to your tail. Take a breath. Bring your knees into your chest. Inhale and exhale, take a breath. And then slowly, inhale and exhale, roll to the side, take a breath there. And then inhale, exhale, press and come on up. All right. So, last week we talked about increasing the exhale, did we not? So, whether it's long exhalation, last week I was using the image of the column-shaped inhale and triangular-shaped exhale, or the funnel-shaped exhale. So whether you just take a normal or a deep inhale and purposely make the exhale longer, that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it would be narrowing the nostrils while you're making the exhale longer, because when you close the nostril aperture, the same volume of breath can't go through as fast, so that's going to extend the length of the exhale. And once we're doing this, I'll explain why. You can do it with Voloma 2, deep inhale, then exhale a little, wait, exhale a little, wait, exhale a little, wait, exhale a little, wait. That's another way of controlling the exhale, making the exhale longer. Then any of the breaths that tend to be more passive or ta-oriented, remember Hatha Yoga simply means sun and moon, the two lateral movements of the nervous system controlled by the right and left nostril. It goes up the body. So left nostril breathing, or working on Chandrabedana, piercing the moon channel, has a quieting and calming effect. That tends to also be more exhale related. Or when you're practicing how to get a deeper control of the left channel by doing what's called anuloma, which we'll do next week, where you inhale first through both nostrils partially closed, but then you exhale through alternate nostrils. Inhale partially closed, exhale through the other nostril. Then you get to be where like you inhale through either open or partially closed nostrils, then you exhale through a partially closed alternate nostril. But because you're working on the exhale longer than the inhale, that's another way of getting breath. But that's more advanced. We'll work on that next week. We did a little Antara Kumbhak last week, right? Where we held the breath, because that teaches you how to percolate the energy. We're going to do a combination tonight of both increasing the exhale, which is the Voloma 2, after we do Antara Kumbhaka. But first, we're going to lie down, and we're going to take you through the stages of inhale in interrupted stages, exhale normally. With the 3-2-1 thing that we introduced last week, let's review that, right? Do 1 cycle of pranayama, take 3 restorative breaths. Do another cycle of pranayama, do 2 restorative breaths. Do another cycle of pranayama, 1 restorative breath, then 3 continuous cycles so you can acclimate your lungs to doing it without having to take the restorative breath in between, right? Then we'll go to Viloma 2 while we're lying down, which is just normal or deep inhalation, doesn't matter. But exhale, wait, exhale, wait, exhale, wait, exhale, wait. We'll do the 3, 2, 1 there. And then we'll combine them both into Viloma 3. Inhale, wait, inhale, wait, inhale, wait, inhale, wait, exhale, wait, exhale, wait, exhale, wait, exhale, wait. 3 breaths. Same thing, 2 restorative, same thing, 1 restorative, 3 times in a row. Viloma 3s, interrupted inhale, interrupted exhale. That'll be plenty. Now, some of you have a better breath capacity than some of the other people, because Cheryl mentioned this to me last week, that in other studios where students have either trained with me before, or the diversity of the group is not as great as this group is. There's more homogeneity between, like, ages and practice levels and so forth. I make them hold the breath much longer. So I understand I'm purposely making a shorter cadence, and that some of you say, well, I could do more of that. We'll do that at home. We're doing this so we can get everybody on the same page, so I can just have the template or the principle stamped upon them. And by repetition, they'll get it. If you can do it longer at home, do it longer at home. But surrender as best as you can to what we're doing here. Got it? So what I'd like you to do is set up that you're going to be on your back with the bolster going spine-wise from your waistline to your head. Have a pillow, an extra blanket for yourself there. Then I'd like you to, is anybody cold that you need another blanket to cover yourself? No? Okay, now wait a second, listen up. Whose memory is good? Last week when we lied over the bolster and I was showing you the difference about the Vayana Vayu gets open, right? It's not just chest dilation, it's one of the Vayus that the master is saying is going on, right? Were the legs straight ahead or the legs crisscrossed? Right, because I said that softens the exhale, makes you do that. So today what you're going to do is, the second blanket, if you don't need it to cover yourself, make it a roll underneath your knees. So it softens the groin, but even though the legs are extended, it'll help soften the groin there. Right. Make sure that your head is a little higher than your chest, so the passive back bend quality is there. Having fun yet? This is what you wanted, huh? So this is terrible. You have this in me. I can't sneak a piece of chocolate while the thing is on. Have to wait till they're not recording? Okay.
You said second blanket underneath.
The blanket underneath the knees. Yeah, some people like it a little bit more toward the buttock. Some people like it a little bit more right in the center of the knee. It doesn't matter. The idea is that your low back feels nice and relaxed. Now, you have to have your forehead higher than your chin. My new sound backbending friend over there. Higher than your chin. So the blankets are too far underneath you. Have it support your head. Really go higher. That's it. Once you're there, get your hands to the side by the lower ribs. Make sure that you're aware of which knuckle is touching the floor on which part of your hand. Otherwise, it means the arms are rotated differently in the socket. It means it pulls on the shoulders a little bit differently. If it pulls on the shoulders differently, it pulls on the collarbones differently. If it pulls on the collarbones differently, it pulls on the lung tissue differently. So all these things are related to one another. Use your hands to scoop your buttock away from your waistline toward your heels. Lengthen the buttock. Come on, use your hands from top to bottom. And then pull the tissue from inside out as well. So you're not jamming the tailbone. Really make the effort to determine whether or not you're on the center of your tailbone. Think of your tailbone as having a right and a left side. And you want to move the flesh of your buttocks so that you're really on the center of your tailbone. Rita, still not high enough with your neck. All right. Eyes open first, and I'm going to dim the lights, you work here for yourself. Shoulder sockets down, inner shoulder blades up, let your legs fall apart. There you go.
Shanti, Shanti,